Welcome them all. Yes, guys, they come aboard, of course, except Natalie and Dan. Everybody, all the rest come from aboard. Let's start with a small introduction. Each one of you will start giving a short description about who you are, where you come from, and why you come here. You know, to be here in Tel Aviv now, it's a challenge. So please, Natalie.
So I'm everyone, happy to be here. Natalie Cntebi from Citibank. I'm leading a digital asset solution here in Tel Aviv. We have an innovation lab that focuses on DLT and blockchain. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Hey everyone, excited to be here. My name is Shai Sand. I am the founder and CEO of Momentum. We are a fan engagement and ticketing platform that help in making or building sport and sport experiences into fair, transferable, and tradable assets.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas. I'm the CMO for Pal Wallet. We are a B2C standardized wallet with a card system built in, but also we have a B2B play, which is called Pal Payments, where we do fiat on, off, and multiple different services for exchanges and things like that in the ecosystem. My background myself, I've worked extensively across some of the biggest exchanges in the world, and I've connected card systems and wallet systems all inside of those platforms as well. So huge, extensive sort of experience inside of crypto. I've been there through the bear times and also through the great times. We're in a great time at the moment, by the way, so you should all be like smiling right now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Stefan Lawi. I'm Chief Investment Officer and member of the Executive Committee of Hyposwiss. Hyposwiss is a Swiss private bank headquartered in Geneva, with offices in Zurich and Tel Aviv. We cater to private, individual, ultra high net worth, mostly on the wealth management side, with advisory and portfolio management services.
Hi everyone, Shalom. I'm Dan Kamenetsky. I'm head of digital assets at the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. I'm leading the digital asset business of TACE for the last 2 years. Before that, I was the head of strategy at TACE, and I came from the public sector. I was in a few roles in the Ministry of Finance, the Bank of Israel. So right now, trying to bring the digital assets into the FMIs in Israel.
Excellent. I will give a short introduction about myself also. So, my name is Jacob Mendel, and I'm also based in London. I just come for this event, and tomorrow I'm going back. My main activities day by day is on providing privacy solution and security for blockchain infrastructure, especially for institute. In parallel, I'm teaching at the Tel Aviv University and in the Bar Ilan University, blockchain and cybersecurity. And I fully agree. We are in a great period currently for crypto and blockchain in general, especially coming from US. With that new dimension, spirit that we are going forward, let's start with the banks, and I will start with Natalie. Let me ask her the first question regarding really the future. What core architecture decision are holding currently the banks for really fully embracing tokenization in the infrastructure today?
Thanks, Jacob. So I'm very close to the core decision in the bank regarding the architecture. So tokenization is not just a wrapping asset on-chain. You need to re-architecture the entire infrastructure to be programmable, to be composable, and also globally interoperable. So when we are getting decision, as we will get clarity on a lot of area that I will touch base with them today, it will be help to financial institutions such as Citibank to get a decision. So regarding programmability or programmable money, programmable payment, this is one of the biggest advantages of tokenization. So I think, first of all, we don't have an industry standard about how this smart contract should be written, secured, and audited. The second one, and I'm very close to that as a financial institution, and we have a lot of pain around that, is all the integration to the core system. when you are tokenizing an asset, you need to integrate it with all those systems that never designed to integrate it and support 24/7 real-time technology. So it's also a challenge for us. And the third one is around standardization. Still, interoperability is still immature. We have a lot of projects and pilots, but we don't have a global standards. And also around KYC and AML, all of this will help us as an institution to get more clarity and to embrace and adopt this technology faster.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Yes, you can applaud, it's okay, no problem. We stay in the banking area, and for this, Stefan, this is for you. From your perspective as a Swiss private bank, what is your approach for crypto assets?
Sure. Well, you might be wondering what we're doing here as a Swiss private bank. Most Swiss banks manage traditionally wealth, that is investing in bonds, stocks, etc. We took a slightly different approach, being very close to the space. And already in 2017, we started addressing clients that wanted to cash out from crypto, meaning that wanted to sell their Bitcoins, ETH, or whatever tokens to bring their money back into the traditional financial system. At the time, none of the banks were doing it, whether in Israel or even in Switzerland. But I must say our regulator in Switzerland was quite forward-looking in that already in 2017, FINMA, the Swiss regulator, issued a paper categorizing tokens, payment tokens, securities token, utility tokens, which is very similar to, in some ways, to the Clarity Act that is being put forward today. So at the same time in Switzerland, the whole ecosystem of startups started emerging, which helped us with all the KYC, AML part. Our approach was that it's not all money laundering. You just have to do the work and address where the money is coming from, be sure that the source of wealth is has been properly created, and then you can onboard your client. So we've been very strict from the beginning with that, and we've put in place procedures in accordance with our board, our regulator, and we've been operating like that since then. Then the second step was, again, driven by demand from clients, was to offer custody and trading of cryptocurrencies. And that we've put in place in 2021. Again, there were it was a new business line that we were putting in place. We had to get approval by our regulator, which took a few months, I must say. But eventually, we managed to have it in place, and we've been trading cryptocurrencies since 2022, early 2022. And then finally, the last step was, that was a bit more my role as CIO, was to convince our investment committee to invest in cryptocurrencies. And today we managed, well, we agreed on having Ether and Bitcoin in most of our managed portfolios at the bank, mainly due to what is happening in the US and the changes in terms of regulation that is taking place.
Thank you very much. Let's switch the topic from financial currently to FIFA. And this question goes to Shai. Shai, how do you see, and if you can explain more in details and elaborate around the tokenization in FIFA, how this really work together and what is the benefit? Give us more details.
Okay, thank you, Jacob. Great question. So all in all in sport, we can see that tokenization is the bridge between blockchain technology and real-world asset. At FIFA, what it means is turning rights and experience into digital tokens. Whether it's a collectible, a right to buy a ticket, or access to money can't buy experiences. On FIFA Collect, the NFT marketplace, we've seen this utility in action. Some tokens are pure digital collectibles. Some of them gives you the right to buy a ticket. And then some unlocks exclusive perks. It's simple, transparent, and it gives fans tradable asset they can trust. The impact here is in two folds. Number one, the fans, they gain fairer access, while FIFA is capturing value that previously was leaked to scalpers and the middlemen. More importantly, what FIFA has done is a blueprint for the future of finance. Tokenization isn't just about collectibles. It's about building a regulated, liquid market around fan demand. Every right can be tokenized, every asset can gain liquidity, and every community can become a market. I can objectively say that the community adoption, the FIFA fandom adoption, still is amazing.
So talking about adoption, we need to talk about wallets. And when we are talking about wallets, that everybody here, I believe in the audience, at least have one, if not more, wallets in their mobile phone installed. This question goes to currently to Thomas. Thomas, how do you position really tokenization mainstream for users to be adopted?
So I think we've got to look at it, and we all agree here, we're sat here and it's regulation, 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 but this forms part of a bigger story, okay? And the bigger story narrative is tokenization is all about ownership. Real ownership at the granular level for a person is. So that means that you actually own what you have, whereas when it's in the bank, sometimes it's not technically yours, but it sort of is, but isn't. It's a little bit of a gray area, okay? And this just opens up a much larger forum for people to be able to move across borders, to buy property, maybe not to own the full property, but fractionally be able to own that property, whether it's here, whether it's there, wherever it is in the world. Right now, if we look across the UAE, where you've got fractional ownership and you've got rents being returned all through that tokenization process. The reason that it's moving faster there is because of the way that the regulation has been made for it. This is what we will start to see across Europe, and we will start to see it across the US. We're in the foundation period now where we've got MiCA license going through in Europe. We've also got the Genius Act, which has gone live in the US, and we're starting to see great movements inside of tech. But also what we're seeing is massive land grabs by very, very rich companies buying up technology. They're buying up businesses all around us right now, people inside of here. People will be having conversations with American companies, with companies all over the world, because they want to buy infrastructure right now to push the product and to push it through.
This is really fascinating, and also refer to the topic, if not your key, not your money. So I'm sure you are very familiar with this. And this is a part of the future about really real estate, tokenization, what is really old, who store your keys, how you recover the keys if something goes wrong. And this will move us to Dan from the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, because also we want to hear about what is happening from the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange, talking and preparing for this tokenization, but also give us some insight about what is happening around other stock exchanges in the world.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, we can share that last March, we published a public call for public comments together with the ISA, the Israel Securities Authority, because we are starting to build our new, or to upgrade our settlement and custody and clearing system. So what is, I'm talking about traditional assets, but why I'm mentioning it, it's because part of this call for comments was to ask how we can implement blockchain and DLT and tokenize assets into our new traditional systems. So the way we see it, we're trying to build the road for how we are going to upgrade our systems in order to be ready for the future. I think that the same process that we are going through, and again, from an FMI point of view, a financial market infrastructure point of view, this kind of upgrades is something that you do once every 20 years. So the fact that we're looking towards that direction of tokenization is because we want to be ready for the future. I do think that similar to us, other FMIs and critical financial institutions are doing the same, walking the same walk. For example, clearing houses as a DTC, the Euroclear, Clearstream, they actually held, you know, they manage most of the assets in the world. They are going and trying to build their digital solutions. I think last week we saw how NASDAQ are moving from regular trading to settling tokenized securities. So I think critical financial institutions, obviously Citi, they're another example of that, are trying to move into that direction to build the new infrastructure using those innovative technologies. Maybe one last thing that I want to say is that from our point of view, one important thing to do is to build bridges. So the way we see the future infrastructure is building bridges between ourselves as an exchange and, for example, regulators or other critical financial institutions. They can be banks, for example, or the Bank of Israel, or the Ministry of Finance. So in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange for the last years, we have been building those bridges. It was a few years ago we built a platform for the Ministry of Finance to issue tokenized governmental bonds. We are now trying to build this connectivity with the Bank of Israel to be able to settle CBDC and maybe a stable coin that we plan to issue back on RTGS money. So I think both, you know, looking to the future, but also building bridges today. That is the way we see it.
Absolutely, bridges are important, and please remember that one of the most target for hackers is bridges. So when you build it, you are smiling and laughing, and you know this. You need to be very, very careful how you build it correctly to make sure that there will not be any bridge in the bridges. With that, I'm sure a lot of people in the audience are interested to ask you a question, Natalie from Citibank, about, you know, if you can take us to a point for real deployment of tokenization. And the question is, are there scenarios where tokenization might add unnecessarily complexity rather than really values when deploying it in real banks?
Thanks, Jacob. So I will be a little bit party pooper today, because all of us know that tokenization is a very powerful process, but it's not plug and play. And you need to, when you are evaluating this and you are starting to do that in the bank, case by case, you are rethinking about asset servicing, tax, custody, and a lot of processes that already existing. And when we are evaluating this new use case, we have one rule. If the underlying process is already efficient and it doesn't need functional ownership, for example, or broader distribution, it might be better to keep it simple. Just because you have the ability to tokenize an asset doesn't mean you should. That's my key of today.
This is always a good advice, you know, in any case. If it's working and efficient, then why to make the change? But this is really the challenge that we are all seeing. We want to currently include blockchain technologies in different use cases to make it better, to think about our future, about the next generation. And with that, I would like to ask you, Shai, a question. Take the mic, please. About, do you see or you think there is a connection between adoption of tokenization in the financial industry to sports and entertainment, for example?
Thank you for that. Definitely. And I agree with you, not everything needs to be tokenized. We know that the sport and entertainment industries are not the first movers when it comes to financial tools or technology. All in all, when banks and funds will adopt tokenization, they bring things that matter most for the mainstream adoption. They bring trust, they bring regulation, custody, and liquidity. That will create the rails that then the sport and entertainment industry will be able to ride on. But that will not be enough. Tokenization at scale alone will succeed only if the fan experience will improve. It can't just be about pushing blockchain for its own. It needs to mean something. It needs to mean a fairer access, more transparency, and value flowing back to the fans and organizers. So all in all, tokenization, it's not about an NFT hype anymore. It's about building a real infrastructure that connects finance, sport, and entertainment into a direct-to-fan, web-native economy. And the winners will be the ones that will start with fan experience first and move back to the financial infrastructure and eventually build an ecosystem, not just an isolated product. Last thing, the moment the financial sector will adopt tokenization, sport and entertainment can expedite the move from middleman-driven models to direct-to-fan economies, and eventually that will be the main enabler for the exponential growth of SportFi.
Thank you very much, Shai. The next question goes to Stefan. Stefan, think about the next 2 years. How this is going to influence, how you see and envision the tokenization, not only in Switzerland, but around the world. Where it's going to be adopted, where is the growth, and where here entrepreneur in the audience who maybe will focus from your perspective?
In the next 3 years, 5 years? 10 years?
2 years. We don't want to think about more than 2 years. It's too far for us. Remember, we are Israeli. 2 years is a long time for us.
Yes, it's... well, first of all, I'm not an expert in tokenization, but I can see definitely what it could bring to banking in general. I mean, we're talking about stable coins, USD stable coins, which are basically tokenized dollars. We talk about, I mean, efficiency that it could bring, and that I will let the specialists in the market infrastructure talk more about it. But it would definitely bring efficiency in settlement, in reconciliation, and I can see my back office operation being trimmed by 2 or 3. So efficiencies for the bank, for sure. In terms of asset classes, remember I'm really an asset allocator for my client. That will bring tremendous opportunities. I mean, we're talking if in 2 years, I don't think we'll have real estate tokenized because there's a lot of issues in there tax-wise. But tokenized stocks will come in play. That will bring fractional stocks to be able to increase liquidity. And I could see also, not real estate, but another area that we want to see tokenized because we want to see liquidity is private placements in general. So tokenized, maybe funds or private placement that would bring liquidity. This is a trend that we're seeing. So I would say that in general, for me, and for my clients, it's a great time because we're going to have a lot more asset classes to diversify in, and maybe asset classes that were not available for smaller investors or any type of, or more short-term investors will become available. But again, that will depend a lot on regulation, I come back to that, and infrastructure.
Thank you very much. The next question is for Dan. Dan, really maybe for you, I would say in the next year, what do you see and envision for the next 1 or maximum 2 years? The Tel Aviv Stock Exchange is going to be with securities, tokenization, and what type of technologies and solution you are looking for that companies here in the audience maybe should approach you?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not sure that I have the answers. I think our next, the way we are looking at it is moving, for us it's kind of a journey. So right now we're trying to build the base and the rails for the next generation of capital markets to live and be able to be able to work in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. I think that this year was the stablecoin year. We are trying in the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange to think how we can also bring some value to those areas. There are many vectors that can be relevant for us we have experience, we have many values to bring to those markets. We are also looking at, real world assets that may be the next wave of the ecosystem. This is the way we see it. So this is why we're trying to build those bridges that I talk about also with other critical institutions and entities in Israel to be ready for that wave. Regarding technology, I can say we have been partnering with Fireblocks for the last years. They're a good and good partner of us. Where constantly we're trying to check ourselves and see if we can expand partnerships and try new technologies. We invite all you guys to come and to meet us. I'm not a tech guy, so I'm always open to new technologies and new services to learn and to implement in our traditional systems.
So take this opportunity that Dan invited you for approaching him. I'm sure he will be booked now for the rest of the year with meetings. But this is really fascinating that you are open for cooperation, and this is what we want to do. Part of this event is to meet each other and know who is doing what and to connect to the ecosystem. And this brings us really to Thomas about, yes, again to you, really about this tokenization going forward. Is going to open new markets? How you see this from your perspective as a wallet provider, as a solution provider in this area?
So I think we've got to break it down into two separate markets, okay? So we've got to be looking at Europe and America and the Middle East market, and then we look at the Asian market as well, okay? So the Asian market breaks it down into borderless and remitless payments and things like that through the stable coin. But then when we look at the wider ecosystem, being Europe and America and places like that, it brings us into that tokenization aspect and things like that. And right now, for the last sort of 2 years, we've been run away with meme coins and NFTs of monkeys and things like that. We're past that point now. So we're back into that traditional asset class, but we're able to break it back down and to look at it from a real perspective. And it's starting to break down so users can really get involved in it. And it just comes back to the flexibility of being able to own what you do and how you do it and move it around where you want to do it and stuff like that. It's so important for people in the future to be able to make their own decisions where their tokens lie, what their tokens do, what they yield from it, and things like that. It's super important to the future of everyone, really. It is.
Thank you very much. The next question goes to Shai, but also to your, my friends here in the panel, regarding interoperability. And Shai, because you are coming from really the client perspective, really taking tokenization to the sport and entertainment, do you see and what do you think about interoperability and how you see this from your project?
Thank you. Yes, I said that I recently saw a good panel and the chief business officer of Avalanche said it's not going to be about one blockchain to rule them all. And I agree. At the end of the day, what's important in the interoperability side is both things. Interoperability of assets between blockchain, but also interoperability of the cash or the funds from blockchain to blockchain. The way I see it, what will help and what will potentially work is creating something similar, which is blockchain-based but swift mechanism for the interoperability between different blockchains. The way I see it, every blockchain is like a, let's call it a bank branch, and at the end of the day, there needs to be a system of rules and regulations in order to be able to do the transfer, the cash transfer, or the funds transfer between the different branches, between the different blockchain, and same goes for the different tokenized assets.
No, thank you very much. This is really to emphasize what Shai is saying, and we are also seeing this around the world in different opportunities, and I will like to get your opinion around this, is that every bank, and it's also connected to the previous panelist that was before us, that, for example, imagine yourself there is a bank in Germany, just for an example, and everything currently operated with blockchain between all the banks in Germany under the central bank in Germany. And then US came, and now they want to see some kind of information related to a specific client of a specific bank in Germany. Are they going to open the kimono and give the US regulation to look into what is happening in the financial industry in the specific bank in Germany? How this going to be, what will be the privacy in that case? Imagine yourself the same in Israel. If there will be any account which maybe will be connected to terrorists, are we going to open and enable Secret Service or other regulation to go into specific bank account to look around all the history and all the information? This is very, very critical questions. So interoperability should enable, from connectivity perspective, to connect private ledger with public chain and run assets on both. But for this, I also want to hear your opinion regarding interoperability. So let's start with, where is the mic? So you start, and then moving to Dan, okay?
So from my perspective, looking at something like a ZK roll-up inside of a token, where regulators can actually come into the token themselves, via a bank maybe, perhaps, so they can look at what's going on, where transactions have moved across chain, and being able to look at the chain itself, to be able to see what the transaction would be a great way of working, but also give financial institutes like trading houses and places like that the ability to trade as well, where they've not got whale watchers on their wallets and things like that, because that's also a problem as well.
From my point of view, I think the industry is kind of moving more into a silo dynamic. Again, I'm not a tech guy. This is why I do know that there are many solutions, services that are trying to connect between different layers and try to bring solutions to this challenge. From my point of view, I do think that the interoperability is going to be the solution for those challenges, can be also, or needs to be also, from the governance side of the thing, from the regulatory framework, from the standard. So I do think that if we, as an industry, and we bring also the regulators to build these frameworks in order to be able to to talk with each other, the tech is not going to be the real challenge. There are many tech solutions for that. We need to bring the governance and the standards.
I can just add that I think interoperability is our next challenge as in Citibank. In Citibank, we have our private chain. We have use cases, city token services that running in production on our private chain. And this is our next step. How we are moving assets, tokens from private to public, and then from public to public. I think we have a great technology out there like CCIP and many more, and we need to start to adopt that and create a standardization.
Thank you.
I'm going to say, as a Swiss bank, we always have the problem or need to differentiate between transparency and confidentiality. And transparency is good. We want to know, again, where the money is coming from and where it went, etc. And I think blockchain for that gives us all the answers. But we have to keep confidentiality, and not for us, but for a client that are probably international, living in some jurisdictions where they cannot disclose all the wealth or should not, even though they're paying taxes. I'm not saying that's the point here. And so maybe we're always on the, I don't have a solution for that, but that's what we're concerned about.
Okay. The next question then is for you, is about how you see and what is the influence of the regulator related to deployment of tokenization here in Israel?
I don't know. I can tell you that we see the regulator as a partner of us. So the way we're trying to engage the regulator is being transparent and bringing them to the same table in order to build something together. So I think that in Israel specifically, some of the frameworks are still evolving, and the regulators are trying to build those rules. Maybe some of the energy and the dynamic that we have in other markets, obviously, MICA-oriented and now with the Genius Act, may in some way influence the local regulators, but I think still that we still have as an industry, and obviously the regulators, they still have a way to go. But again, we see the regulator as a partner. Without regulation, we won't be able as an industry to build anything. So that is our approach.
I like your approach. I see regulator as our partner. This is really marvelous. You don't hear this a lot. Thomas, the same question regarding regulation. How do you see regulation influencing really the new era after Trump has been elected in US, Europe, and in the Far East? And I'm sure some of you will be also joining us in Singapore in 2 weeks' time. So what do you see about regulation?
You can't be in this industry without regulation now. So probably 2016, everything changed. We went from the Wild West to now we are got to be regulated. So anyone playing with a product that's not, if it's an exchange and it's not regulated, get out of it straight away. But absolutely, any product out there now, it's probably one of the most expensive things right now as well to go through those licensing processes and things like that. So you have to be involved in it. And it's mightily important now how you look, how those products jurisdictionally push across the globe as well, yeah? So what might be right in Europe may not be right in another country and stuff like that. But it's super important, and every product needs to be aligned with that, with their risk framework. That also includes your KYC framework and also your AML framework and your engines inside of those, you know, how that works, where it's coming from and everything like that. I've worked at some of the biggest exchanges. I know how it used to be looked on, and now we're in a completely different industry, how that is pulled together and is working. Whereas before it was an open door, now the door is still open, but you have to give some information. And that's a good thing, because fundamentally, if you're giving some KYC over, you are working with someone that cares about your funds and your Bitcoin and your coins and things like that.
Thank you. And the same question regarding regulation in the sport industry and the entertainment for Shai.
Thank you for that. So as I mentioned before, as long as the financial sector industry will take care of regulation, I believe that the rest will enjoy it. Yes. So as long as the regulation is in place, and as long as the banks, the regulators, all the financial shareholders will take care of the regulation, it will enable a much broader and a global engagement between fans and their, I guess, creators, organizers. All in all, when it comes to the economy and when it comes to the sport and entertainment sector, the opportunity is amazing. Right now, this opportunity is captured by middlemen, because at the end of the day, we are looking for the right regulated tools in order to do the shift from the traditional economy to the future blockchain-based economy. And that's exactly where we might need the help, or we will need the help, in order to find the right tools, in order to make it into a global outreach between fans, organizers, creators, etc. I think that's my take on regulation.
No, absolutely. I fully agree with this. And I think that at least we give the audience today really some thinking and direction regarding really taking the TradFi into the DeFi, and how this is also going to be implemented in the sports and entertainment. The location and where we see the regulator, if this is helpful or not, for sure it is helpful. And if the regulator is there, that means someone is going to enable this more going forward. But also we need to think about the future. And I want to really finalize this panel with some thinking, giving you some challenges to think about in the next, maybe hours or days around that. How really the quantum computers and the industry related to post-quantum cryptography going to influence all the crypto? I know that this is something that already there is a lot of conversation around that, especially around Bitcoin and Ethereum. But this is something that also you need to think about this, and each one of you coming from banks or from sports, my ticket is already, I buy it in the next few weeks, but also thinking about IP protection, thinking about wallets, about wallet protection for the future. And if we think about privacy, our privacy will be preserved into the future, and I don't want that in 2-3 years, someone will publish probably in China or other places around the world, oh, Jacob bought this or sell that, and this is all the details of his transaction, and now I can also change the ownership from Jacob to Shai or from Shai to Jacob. I think this will be very challenging. So think about those challenges. We are over time. I want to say thank you very much for my panelist partner here, Natalie, Shai, Thomas, Stefan, and Dan. Thank you very much. Enjoy and safe days. Thank you and goodbye.